Sex is one of the most natural things in the world. Yet, somehow, you ha- we have all made it the most complicated. Between purity culture, fear based education, and the social ick policing, too many people grow up thinking desire is dangerous instead of divine. But what if we flipped that narrative? So, hey, dear listeners, welcome back to another powerful episode of Pleasure Principles. I'm your host, Avik, and today we have a very special guest. Please welcome Bria Rose. So, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, before we delve deeper into the discussion, I'd quickly love to introduce you to Bria. So, Bria does exactly that. So, she is an indie author writing the dark romance and fairy tale retellings, stories where sensuality meets storytelling and characters reclaim their power in the boardroom and beyond. So she worked at Disneyland, grew up surrounded by the magic and the myth, and now uses that same fairy tale foundation to explore something far more than real, which is constant autonomy and the thrill of fully embracing your own. Yeah. So her breakout novel, her Dark Promise, dropped on Halloween, and blending passion, danger, and empowerment into one unforgettable retelling of Beauty and the Beast. So I'll not take much of your time, dear listeners. Let's get started. Welcome to the show again.
I'm so excited for this episode.
Lovely, lovely. So Bria, you have said that the sex is not supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be fun and freeing. So why do you think that so many people still carry a fear or maybe guilt around the desire?
I really think that depends on the gender. So women are taught, from a young age, and this is a generalization, whether that's religious reasons or beliefs that if you you'll sully yourself if you decide to have sex before marriage. There is definitely various reasons, but overall, the main reason is that for women, you're no longer pure for your husband or your future partner, and you're looked down upon. Even a woman with one body count is seen as less valuable as a man who has three, 4, 10 times the amount of body counts for him. With young girls, they are told, "Oh, don't wear that spaghetti strap tank top because, oh, your shoulders are showing." And teachers will say, "Oh, they're sexualizing, kids and all these things." Where boys, "Oh, if you kiss all the girls, oh man, that's a man." So I just think that there's different standards for men and women. And fear-wise, it's of course not wanting to be called a whore, not wanting to be called any of those slurs. And so there's a lot around it. Definitely a lot of religious um beliefs, you know. It's I mean this I could really go into this. I know I'm kind of giving a couple different examples, more generalizations, but that's kind of where the fear comes from. I mean, personally, I was fearful to not just have like sex before marriage, but participate like in safe sex. I waited because I was terrified of getting pregnant. That is something, I mean, I don't want to have to be tasked with the not option. Well, yeah, I mean, I do have options, but being tasked with the decision, the moral decision, is it morally right? I did decide to partake in this activity that sometimes has a consequence of, producing a child. And so,
Yeah.
abortion or not. So there was that fear because I would never want to have to make that choice, whether it was to have it or not. So, I mean, there's also just I wasn't really fearful that I would be called anything. It was just more of,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm not ready to be a
Yeah.
parent."
Hmm. Understood. Understood. So, I mean, if you can also share, like, how does writing dark romance help you rewrite that story? I mean, both for your characters and your readers.
I
Mhm.
don't really know what bro like, drew me to dark romance. I think it was always a part of me. I always enjoyed darker sides of stories. Of course, I mean, I did grow up at Disney. I worked at Disney. I grew up with the stories of, hero prevails, evil doesn't, evil always loses. But, behind every villain, there's a backstory. How did they become that way? So I think I've always been drawn to the darker sides of stories. And then it just decided to I don't know what happened because I just thought, "Oh, this is fun. Let's write about sex and let's write a good story and let's make it fun." And the more I wrote Her Dark Promise, the more I feel as a dark romance author dealing with especially giving your characters different traumas, you need to treat those traumas as real, as though these are real people because to me they are real. You know, when you watch movies, when you in if you inject any form of media, those
Mhm.
characters become real to you. So, I wanted to give my characters the respect, and that meant I had no idea, but that meant going into, mental health. If someone has this kind of trauma, what would their reactions be days after, years after? And so, really taking into account all of that, I I'm so sorry. I kinda got off topic. Can you repeat your question one more time? I went on a tangent. I totally forgot the question.
Yeah, so I was just saying, I mean, how writing dark romance actually help you rewrite I mean, the story that for your readers and for the characters as well.
Yeah, so it just
Hmm.
dark romance has really just opened up this new world of really delving into yeah, kink positive. What does that mean? Thank you. I knew I was going somewhere. So to me,
Mhm.
sex, is meant to be celebrated, especially between two consenting adults. Now, I'm not talking about things that happen abuse wise or negative wise, or someone wants it, one other doesn't, or I'm not talking about any of that. But between two consenting adults, uh, I really enjoy writing scenes that really showcase that and shows that sex can be a fun way, especially with this new book that I have coming out. I really wanted it to be a kink positive book. We don't ick anyone's yum. Everyone has different likes and interests. And again, as long as we are two consenting adults or multiple, everyone who is involved are consenting adults, then it's fine. And I need to make a distinction. I do have scenes where it's not consenting, or we have things, like consensual non consent or dubious consent. Uh, but I do make a distinction with the fun sex scenes and the scenes that are truly meant to be traumatic. So,
Ah,
yeah.
got it. And that's powerful. I mean, uh, turning the taboo into transformation. So, I mean, it's not just about the shock value, but it's all about showing uh, what she kind of uh, safe exploration really looks like, right? So,
Yeah, it's also about taking back your power. It's about especially dealing with really hard topics where people have gone through abuse and you put them in certain
Mhm.
situations. People use dark romance as an outlet to take back their control. So if they are in a certain situation, maybe they might find retribution. They might find, you know, their rage being taken through this character, and they're living that like, that road that path that could have gone, they're living that out and they're getting their, um I don't know, it's just it's a very healing process for some, but it's also but that's more of a not negative side, I don't wanna say negative, but more on the side where people are using this kind of media form to help them heal, and then on the other side is people, not just women, but it's people taking their power back of, "Oh, I'm a sexual being. I'm a feminine person. I love to be creative and be in this power dynamic, but I don't need to just be submissive. I could be on top. I can, kind of control." It's just about exploration and showing like, "Oh, things don't just have to be vanilla. You can enjoy this act between, 2 or more people."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. True, true, definitely. And I mean that's definitely great. And uh also would love to discuss about like you live by this golden rule that never ache someone else's yum. I mean, I love that because so I mean if you can break it down for the listeners, like what does that mean in real life? Intimacy and in writing.
Sure. So a good example is each book normally is going to have one, two, three themes that, they stick to. They have a handful of tropes that they stick to, and it's woven throughout the book. For example, uh, a lot of books, people say, "Oh, hey," because I'm in a lot of Facebook groups. So they'll ask, "I need recommendations for stepbrother, stepsister relationships." And some people might say, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." Well, apparently there is a huge community where that is a huge turn on. There a lot of people don't like um dealing with, there is kinks of golden showers. That's, being, urinated on. Uh Not my thing, but that is definitely somebody else's thing. Degradation. I'm not really into being super, so it's just there's so many different kinks, there's so many things that turn people on. Now, we don't wanna ick those young, but we do wanna ick where it's not consensual, it is illegal, that, of course, has to deal with children, deal with people who don't consent, deal with so there's a lot of wiggle room there, of definitely ick there, young, because no, I mean, that's just a hard stop for a lot of people. I mean, even people who are in this, I feel like this community is stigmatized because like, "Oh, well, if you're okay with that, you must be okay with
Mhm.
this." No, no. That is not correct. We it's of course, to everybody, that should be a huge ick. That's a no, that's illegal, that's not okay. But in the realm, always think if it's between 2 consenting or more adults and everyone is agreeing to the situation, there's nothing wrong with anything that anyone, you know, ha is interested in doing.
Mm. Hmm. So, okay. I mean, one more thing is like, in your books, like, how do you model the healthy consent while still keeping the tension and intensity alive?
I
Yeah, I'm saying like, in a book, like how you model about the consent which is healthy, uh, while keeping the tension and intensity alive.
mm. A great example of this is in my book, we have Bria Rose Everhart. She is our cursed queen who has been cursed to live alone and unloved forever for like her rest of eternity in her castle in the middle of the woods set in France. Now, people start kind of coming in over 300 years, over like about 350 years later after she's cursed. So she's kind of going crazy. She's full of resentment, full of all these feelings. She definitely uses sex and she actually uses poison as addictions to kind of get her out of her mental state because she can't die. She's tried to kill herself a lot of times. But I mean, there's a lot to this character. She's definitely uh she's gone through it. Now, in we have in one of the characters that enters is the Gaston character, because remind you, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So in my story, Belle the Beast and Gaston are brothers who get trapped at her castle. Now, Gaston is the older brother. His name is Bastien. Now, Bastien is very similar to Calathea. They're both passionate, stubborn, pig-headed, competitive. They don't want to admit that they're wrong. So there's a lot of conflicting um, things going on between them. She forces him to stay there because she is afraid that if he goes back to his village, then she's going to have the entire village come and try and kill her. And she knows she's not going to die, but currently she has two people that she vowed to save in her or not save, but allowed to remain there. She wants to protect them at all costs. Those are now her people, and she'll do anything to do that. Now she keeps him. He becomes very angry about it, and she's like, "I'm sorry, but I don't trust you." So there's this push and pull dynamic where they just egg each other on, and there's a chapter where he starts to have his walls broken. He starts to the the line, he starts crossing the line because he says, "I don't want you. You're this way. I think you're forcing me to do certain stuff." She's like, "I'm not forcing you to do anything. You want me." So she knows he wants him, and I make it very obvious that he wants her. So it's all about those inner thoughts of, what is he thinking? What is he saying? What is he communicating? And her making sure if she does something that might be in the realm of non-consent, especially, like, keeping him against his will, she explains, like, "I don't have a choice. I feel bad about this, but I have no choice." So, there is a scene where he kinda comes on to her, and he he is the one who initiates it because he's drunk, and she realizes, she's like, "I don't want him this way. I want him, but I do not want him drunk. I want him to want to admit to me that he wants me." And so she tells him, she's like, "Hey, if you don't leave right now, I will have sex with you, and I won't care how you feel about it in the morning." Like, she kinda, like, gets him out of that, and then he just 'cause he pauses before he fully goes through with it. So, there is that tension, there's that push and pull, and I make it really evident that he is interested. He's just fighting against his own morals and values and how he was raised.
Got it. Got it. Hmm. I mean, that's the sweet spot. I mean, desire with dialogue, power with the permission, and it's a reminder that consent can be sexy as hell. So, what, I mean, uh, what to say? Like, what advice or suggestion you'd like to give it to the listeners today?
Advice. Normally, I'm on writing podcast, so I always tell people, "Write, write, write." But this is definitely a different podcast. This is actually my first, like,
Mm,
sex positive, more sex conversation. So,
mm,
I guess my biggest advice would be, don't be afraid to explore what might interest you. I promise you there are
mm,
websites out there where you will find someone who is interested in what you are looking for. There's a huge community. I mean, if you're interested in a type of lifestyle experience, there is an amazing resort in Cancun, Mexico, called Temptation. I mean, they're all over the world. There's some in Jamaica where
yeah.
you can go and explore and have fun. Just you live one life. As long as you're having safe, consensual sex, I mean, there's no reason why you can't enjoy enjoy it. Enjoy this life.
Amazing. That's really amazing. So, um, great, great. Bria. So, uh, dear listeners, I'd love to say that Bria reminds us that pleasure isn't the enemy, repression is. So, sex is not supposed to be scary, shameful or the hidden behind closed doors of silence. It's meant to be joyful, consensual, and yes, a little wild sometimes. So, uh, if you loved today's conversation, check out Bria's novel and follow her for more updates. And Bria, what will be the great medium to connect with you if someone wants to connect?
Everything can be found on my website at authorbriarose.com. That's BRIAROSE.com. Those have my socials, my shop, my books, everything.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, I'll put all the links into the show notes for easy reference. And with this hope, this is Pleasure Principles, and I'm your host Avik, and reminding you that the real fairy tale isn't finding the one, it's finding yourself and giving yourself the full permission to feel. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.